All right, welcome everyone to Tuesday Talks. I'm not sure what's happening with my PowerPoint screen, everyone, but it still seems like it's going on. There we go. Thanks, guys. We have a newbie handling some of our stuff right now, and he didn't know when to turn this thing off. Anyway, welcome everyone to Tuesday Talks. We want to thank you for joining us tonight from wherever you are. We've got a very special guest tonight that we're going to tell you all about in just a moment. We have just a couple announcements to make, so I'm just going to bring my PowerPoint up real fast, and that way you guys can give me 1 second here. All right. So now I want you to realize that there is no possible way that if you have a husband, wife, domestic partner, that you think that you're going to get your business going if you don't have a supportive spouse, right? And so I want you to realize, as much as I take a lot of credit for where we are as a family, that I couldn't be here today if it wasn't for my amazing wife. Here is a lady that I saw for the very first time in 1994. Absolutely felt, I mean, the moment I saw her, I knew that I was going to marry this woman, right? I actually walked over to her. I closed her, just so you guys know, got her phone number. And back then, just so you guys know, I got to tell you a quick story. When she gave me her phone number, I didn't want to leave anything to chance. I literally took my cell phone and I called her phone right there on the spot, just to make sure that she really gave me her phone number. I didn't want her to go give me a bogus phone number and then send me off. Does that make sense? And then I could never have another chance. I wasn't going to leave anything to chance. I got her phone number. When you know, you know. 3 months later, after we started dating, I popped the big question. Yes, I did get down on my knees and I closed her. Thank God she said yes. That was in 1994. We just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. And just so you guys know, she is the one who had the vision to start a business. She's the one who started this. And I remember her coming home and telling me about these business ideas, that she was at some meeting or whatever. And I'll tell you what, I was not very supportive. I was not, believe it or not, the supportive spouse. Okay. But once I got in business with her, because about a year later, took her a year to convince me this was a real legit opportunity, that we can actually be where we want to be. And the things that we did is why we are where we are today. You know, for those of you that are married today or not married, domestic partners, you've been living together, you're married under common law, or, you know, father, son, father, daughter, mother, son, mother, daughter, couple power is what I want to talk to you guys about today. Because I got to tell you, there's no way that today that I would be with my wife with 4 kids, boy, girl, that we would be where we are today if it wasn't this super woman that's about to talk to you now. So I am eternally grateful for her. She is an amazing woman. She is my best friend. We cry together, we laugh together, we build our business together, and we've raised our family together. So without any further ado, please welcome everybody down below. Your hands up. Welcome my wife, Arlene Shin. So Arlene.
Hello, everybody. Wow, no pressure here. So how are you doing with your supplies right there?
I'm doing good. I'll share some of this stuff with you later, honey. I know that you went to Costco and there was no toilet paper, but I've got it in my studio. All right. So you guys, let me, I will go ahead and I think you got a presentation, right? Yeah, there you go. So Arlene, why don't you take it away? And as she's going through her slides, I also want to kind of pitch in and make a few comments here and there. So
all right, so let me start by telling you a little bit about my background. As John said earlier, like we were in the law practice, well, not exactly practice, we never really practiced, but you know, growing up in a traditional Korean family, you know, going to church on Sundays, and John came to my church one time, and he didn't realize, like, you know, I played the piano for the church, and you know, very traditional family. So you know, being a doctor or a lawyer was one of two options, and I don't like the sight of blood or any illnesses, so I chose the law route. And yes, we had a lot of student loan debt, and so when we got married in 1994, and at that time, you know, we had you know, we were broke, we had student loan debt, and you know, we weren't making much money. And so when I, like, right before we got married, I actually went to a business meeting, and I was working at this mortgage office, and one of my coworkers asked me to come to this meeting. You know, her husband was new to this business, and you know, he wanted to share this opportunity with me. And as soon as I heard this presentation, I was very excited, actually. You know, John mentioned earlier, I was a numbers person. I studied math in college, and you know, it just made sense. And I was excited how we were going to get out of our student loan debts, and you know, credit card debts and all that. So when I came home, and you know, um, I had to find like the right time to tell him. But here I'm going to start with my PowerPoint here as I'm going along. So 2 common strategies after you come home after a meeting. There's 2 common strategies. So some say nothing when they arrive home, and so that's what I did. And and then they wait for just the right moment and then attempt to share the news. And that's what I did. You know, I had to find the right, you know, I had to wait and make sure he was in the right mood. And you know, of course, you know, when he's happy, then I told him what I was learning, and I wanted to start this new business and all that. So he wasn't very happy because we had spent all this money going to law school. We, you know, we're in debt because of um, our loans and our wedding and all that. We had a major um, big wedding, and so we were in debt, of course. And then so when I came home and said, you know, I'm starting a new business, John was not happy. He said, you know, we just spent all this money to go to law school, and we were going to open up our law practice, and now here I came home, and you know, I wanted to throw all that away, and I wanted to start this new business. But so he wasn't very supportive, and this was me. I was like the big dreamer, and the big dreaming spouse thinks the spouse or partner would be a fool not to do the business. And this was John.
I was the one that said things only a fool would do this business.
And then me, I was thinking this business makes total sense.
And then I was the negative spouse that believes the business makes no sense.
And then I was trying to sell him on the fact that, you know, all the money that we're going to make.
And then I looked at her and said, I see all the money that you're going to need to spend.
And then I said, I believe that the couple can't afford not to do this.
And I was the spouse that said the couple can't afford to do this.
So I was trying to convince him and envision the time and freedom we will gain in the future. So if we put all this time and effort into this business, we're going to gain our time.
And I was the spouse who envisioned the time and freedom that we will lose in the present. And because obviously she was never around, she was always out going to meetings, and then they would go out eating after the meeting. And so I was not very supportive when she was coming home late at night and working 6-7 days out of the week.
And I saw a legitimate strategy for building wealth. This was going to be our answer to financial freedom and just time I wanted to have a big family at the time. I grew up as an only child and I wanted a big family. So this was going to be our ticket.
And I was the spouse that saw a Mickey Mouse scheme to get rich quick. Because that's what she says. She says, oh, we're going to be a millionaire. We'll be millionaires and this and that. And yeah. And again, I saw a very stable opportunity when, and by the way, let me go back and clarify something for you guys. When we were in the early part of 1990, I was actually working in the DA's office and she was working in family law. We both left that and got a bunch of our other friends to start our own law practice, go and be our own business and become, partners and start our own this. So it was interesting that as we were having this talk and there was a lot of us, and we were going to all start this firm. And then out of nowhere, Arlene's like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with this anymore. I'm done. I'm going to go into business. So, obviously that was not something I was very supportive, especially when we had already had multiple meetings about starting one of the largest law firm practices in Southern California. So just wanted to add that in there for you guys to understand.
So I saw with this business a chance to get out of debt. The numbers made sense. The compensation plan that they showed me, and that just, lit up a huge light bulb over my head.
And I was the spouse that saw a chance to get into more debt, right? So, when you're broke and you have no money and you have credit card debt and student loan debt, you don't want to go and try something again new, especially something you don't know. So neither one of us had any background in the financial industry. So it was really interesting that Arlene wanted to go into the financial industry when we had no background in finances. And I'm not a numbers guy. I know you guys are like, wait a second, you're the financial guy. I am, but I don't like numbers, right? Whereas Arlene is a numbers girl. So she's very analytical. And believe it or not, in our house, guess who manages our accounts? Okay, it's actually her. She's the one who knows how much money we have and where we're going to spend it and where it's going. And I don't even know. As far as I know, I would even if she stole money or embezzled money out of our family account right now. Not that she would ever do that. I wouldn't even know. I'm like, I don't know. I just think, I just go and use the credit cards and make sure it goes through. So anyway, go ahead, honey.
So the dreaming spouse sees a reason to be excited. And
I saw a reason to be enraged and pissed off and angry and upset that she's even thinking about something so preposterous. You know what I mean? Like it was nonsense, for her to do what she was doing.
So my thing was, why do you have to rain in on my parade?
And my response to her was, Why can't you see how stupid this notion is and what the parents are going to do? Oh, and that's another thing. Can you imagine, when Arlene is talking about having our parents as immigrants, and many of you are immigrants, and a lot of the traditional immigrant parents, they want their kids to become doctors and lawyers, and it's such a noble profession. You're helping people and saving lives. Can you imagine telling our parents that we weren't going to practice law and we were going to do something totally different, and my parents didn't even know how to even comprehend? So yeah, it was interesting to see how we were going to tell our parents, by the way, which
So
is another story, which, that's another cool thing I think I'd like to do, is get my parents
two
uh,
major
on
obstacles that
here.
I had to overcome because I had a negative spouse and parents who weren't supportive. So that was hard. And then I always said, why do you have to be so negative?
And my response was, why can't you see how hokey this business concept is?
So in the beginning, it was like, oh, when you think you're right, you're always, you know it all, you're right, and that person's wrong. But then that other person, it's his thinking is he's right and I'm wrong. But I mean, that's how couples obviously fight because they always think they're right and the other one's wrong. But um, I had to, I had to prove that he was wrong. So instead of using my words, I had to go show him by go doing, and then that's how I got him in. And why are you afraid of taking risks?
And I said, how can you think that you will ever succeed in this hokey pokey business idea? You know what it was? Is like, if it first thing, is interesting, is if it's so real and it's so easy, why doesn't everybody do it? Right? Why doesn't it, right? I mean, that's kind of like logic. Wouldn't you think, like, if it's so easy and it's so real, why doesn't everybody do it? And I want to answer that question for you guys later on, because I can tell you why in just a minute, right? Go ahead, honey.
Okay, so why can't you be happy for my dreams?
And I said, I'm trying to save you from disaster. So can I just tell you guys real quickly that the difference why most people don't do something is because they don't have dreams. Okay. Their dreams have been shattered. They don't have big dreams. Okay. Arlene had big dreams. Like, she already had a vision of what the family would look like, what our house would look like. And she wanted more. She wanted abundance. Right. And so for me, it was like my dreams were to go and start a law firm and build up a law firm. It was quite different, but her dreams were even bigger than that. And so one thing I want you guys to all do as a family, as a husband, wife, domestic partner, right? Get your spouse together, sit down. And the one thing that both Arlene and I began to do was, because our dreams were different. My dream was one dream, her dream was something different, but we were not on the same page. And this could have been very devastating unless for both Arlene and I, we don't even know where our marriage could have ended up until we sat down and we actually put together a dream board, a board, right? And you're like, what do you mean a dream board? Yeah, it's a board. Get like a big, go to Michael's and get like the biggest poster you can imagine. And then on that board, we took the board and divided it up into 4 different quadrants, okay? And each quadrant had to do with the 4 F's, right? What are the 4 F's? Faith, family, fitness, and your finance. What was that going to look like? And then after we drew all that out, then I knew what she wanted and what I wanted. And those were the things now we're both on the same page, right? And that's when it was easier to hit a target, a goal, when you know exactly what the other one wants. So I didn't know what she really wanted. She didn't really know what I wanted. But until we both knew what we both wanted, that's when things began to change for us. So go
So
ahead
what
to the
we
next slide.
started doing, in addition to a dream board, was we actually went, we would go test drive cars, like our dream car. We would test drive cars, and then, we would, price it out, or we would go see model homes. And, we, at that time, we didn't have any kids. And, something small was, our dream home. But then as soon as we had started having kids, we would have, bigger dreams, and, look for bigger homes. And, we would go into these mansions, and picture ourselves in this big old house, and, having parties and things like that. I mean, it was not always like that, but, in the beginning, I was rolling quarters to go buy our Thanksgiving dinner, but in time, we started, growing our family, and growing, our cars and homes got bigger. And, that's how we dreamt. And, we started, looking at yachts. And I mean, who would have thought? So some things unsupportive spouses do. These are things you need to probably avoid. Using nonverbal cues such as a look, loud sighs, rolling of the eyes, or some other body language to telegraph disdain, disgust, or disinterest. Like, you know, if you, come back from a meeting or something, and they give you that look like you're going to that meeting again, or, you should probably avoid that. I got a lot of those looks, early on when I was going to those meetings, and I would come home, and, John would be like rolling his eyes and telling me, why are you always going to these meetings, and, not being supportive. Using caustic humor or cutting remarks as subtle put downs of their willingness to dream and work hard without realizing any immediate income or profit from their efforts. You're not going. This is not a get rich quick scheme. You need to put a lot of work into it, and a lot of training goes behind everything, and there's a lot of learning involved. And you shouldn't be saying like, oh, you're not making any money yet, or when are you going to start bringing home the paycheck, or things like that. Using verbal jabs and cheap shots to communicate being annoyed because your pursuit of a dream is an inconvenience to them. I mean, every time, if there's an unsupportive spouse and they say, little remarks, I mean, you don't think it's like a big deal, but your spouse can feel your, what's that word? Like, I mean, if they know that or they can feel or sense that you're not supportive, and every little comment that they make, that hurts them. And this is another way some spouses say downplaying the business to friends or family members. We're out there helping a lot of families, but if you're not being supportive, and you just say, oh, he's good, he's doing this thing, and telling you need your friends and other family members to support you as well. And it's important what you say that is going to affect how your family and friends feel about your business. And if you're not being supportive, then they're not going to be supportive. So as a spouse or a partner, you should both, be positive and, be supportive. This is your business too. This is not just one person's business. So what entrepreneurs need from a spouse? You don't need your spouse to understand, like, join, or even believe in the business. You simply just need them to support you. So at first, I was the one attending meetings and working the business and, getting all the training and all that. I didn't need John to be there, go, like the business or do the business. Um, I just needed him to believe in me. But but then I thought, well, wow, he would be great in this business. So I wanted him to come do this business with me, and I wanted to be, you know, starting our family, raising our kids, and all that. So I just knew I needed him to be in the business with me. So you know, but that's how our roles turned is when I tricked him into going to the convention, and that's where he saw the big picture. So he didn't need to go to all the meetings, but that one big meeting, it was a very important meeting, and that's when the light
Like this, guys.
clicked. So spouses need encouragement, praise, and recognition. So they just need to be, they need a little encouragement, if and a little praise and recognition, that they're doing a good job, or just a little word here and there, just to give them little recognition and saying that, acknowledge their sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. Okay. So just a little words of encouragement here and there. This helps them to not give up. Most entrepreneurs find that it's more important to have their spouse believe in them rather than the business they're launching. So it's important for your spouse to believe in you and help you, and and if they're the ones who are the naysayer, and how hard is that? I mean, this is a business that you're launching, and they need all your support. So so be patient with your spouse, and here's the story of the bamboo.
I don't know if you guys have heard the story of the bamboo, but if you haven't heard the story, you can Google it. There's a lot of inspirational stories about this. But, there was a story about the father and the son that went out, to a village, and they planted the seeds, and waited and watered it and fertilized it to see this big bamboo forest. And a month had gone by, and then they came back and watered again, and 2 months and 3 months and 4 months and 6 months and 7 months. And they continue to do this for months and years. And and of course, the son had actually put some white rocks around exactly where he had planted the seeds. And after about 7 years, this bamboo morphed into this massive bamboo forest. And so the kid comes back with his dad and says, how did this happen? Like, what? It wasn't growing for all these years, and then suddenly it just morphed into this massive bamboo forest. And the father basically said to the son that it was growing, but it wasn't growing on the outside. It was growing on the inside. And he says, what are you talking about? And he says, in order for it to have to be able to hold up the strength of bamboos going up as high as they do, it had to establish the foundation. It was growing underneath the ground, right? And really going deep, getting those roots deep into the soils of the ground so that it can actually hold up these big bamboo trees. So it was growing. And so I want you to know that as your husband, your wife, your domestic partner is in this entrepreneurial spirit right now, they're growing. and they're growing on the inside. And so you got to give them a chance as they're growing not only on the inside, to let them manifest those results in due time. So be patient with your husband or wife or domestic partner. So next slide.
How can you be a supportive spouse? Be excited for them. Let them share their enthusiasm and hope for their new business with you. So even if your spouse or partner is not going to do this business with you, at least they can learn about it and, be excited for you. And, when they're excited, you should be excited with them, not, just rolling your eyes and, all those little naysaying remarks. So be excited with them. You don't have to do the business. You just have to support them. Allow them the time to explain what their business is, how it works, and why they're excited about it. So, I mean, you don't have to know everything, but overall, or like a general idea, you should have a general idea, because you never know like who you're going to be talking to, or you could share a little, little information with someone, and they can also, learn about the opportunity. But yeah, you don't have to know the ins and outs and everything, but have them explain it to you what their business is, and you should know why they're excited.
Yeah. And, in the old days, it's quite different now with COVID-19, but, Tuesday nights, I would go to the office and do training like we're doing right now. And we started the training at 7:30-ish, and we went 90 minutes, and we would finish at 9 o'clock. And then it's not like at 9 o'clock, everybody just ran out the door. We all kind of hung out, and, some people, a lot of times would bring food and we'd eat in the office, or if they didn't, we'd all go out. It was somebody's birthday. And then we would go to a cheesecake factory, a TGI Fridays, or a Denny's sometimes, depending where we were. And we would come home at 11 or 12, sometimes even 1 o'clock in the morning. And the spouse was at home going, why do you need to do that? And so, we had to let them know why we were doing that, why it's important to go and celebrate birthdays, and why we had to go eating after the meeting, and stuff like that. And they didn't really understand. So I didn't understand when Arlene was coming home at, 10, 11, 12 o'clock. Now, you guys have to remember something. We got married in 1994, and she started the business before we got married. So I'm thinking we're newlyweds, and newlyweds are supposed to spend time with each other, not have your new beloved wife or husband coming home at 10 or 11 o'clock. And I was like, hey, where were you tonight? And she's like, oh, I was with Tom. And I'm like, what? Like, who the hell is Tom? Right. Well, Tom was her trainer at the time, but I was like, wait a second, who the hell's Tom? So I had to go meet Tom, see if size up my competition. And anyway, he was a dud, so I didn't have to worry that much. I'm kidding, man.
But
Cool guy, but I'm just saying, he just didn't
if you
compare
have
to me,
any
man.
worries, you can go with them to the meeting, then you don't have anything to worry about, right?
That's right. All right, next slide.
Okay. Be patient, flexible, and supportive of them while maintaining a sense of humor. So I don't know if you've, now that the roles were reversed, and John was mainly doing the business, and I'm, being the supportive spouse, people would, you know, come over at like midnight after the meeting, or eating after the meeting. Sometimes like, when the kids were a little older, or we had a nanny at that time, I would go after the meeting, when the kids were asleep, and join them for the eating after the meeting. And at one point, like, I was pregnant with Andrew, our third child, and I was on bed rest where I couldn't go to the office anymore. And so the meeting came after the meeting, came to our house, and they would, make ramen or something, and be up till 1, 2 in the morning training, and strategizing and all that. But I was being patient and supportive. And I don't know if you guys have been to our house last year, I don't know if you remember, do we have pictures of the walls? Our wallpaper or all our window coverings were Post-its and, John's TGR World Tour strategy and numbers and all that. And it was just all over the walls. And people would come over and he would do his presentation and show them all the Post-its all over the windows. And, that was our window covering. And, people would ask me like, you don't mind this? And I have to, I mean, it was funny at the time, but I was being supportive. So attend a meeting, visit the company website, or read some material to learn the basics about their business and understand what they're doing. Again, so if you have questions or if you're curious about something, you should go to the meeting with them. Do a little research of your own and find out why it is your spouse is being so excited about this business opportunity. And, you need to understand what they're doing. This is your business too. You're not active, financial planner or whatever it is you're doing, but it is your business. So you need to find out more about it and, get involved if you can't. Not attend the meetings every week if you can't, but, get involved in one way or another. You can find what your role is. Let them share their highs and lows with you. They will experience a wide range of emotions common to all entrepreneurs. And believe me, there were many, many times when, in the beginning, when John wasn't being supportive, I wanted to quit. I was excited one day, and then like one day when, things were not so great, I wanted to quit. Same with John. There were times when people quit on you and you want to quit too because you think, oh, why am I doing all this? What is it? What is it we're doing? But sometimes they just need someone to talk to and share their experience and vent, and that's what I was here for. Is I was a good listener, so thank God I'm a good listener. And because John vented a lot, right?
Well, so you obviously by now you can kind of tell the personality difference between Arlene and I. So, I think my personality is a lot stronger, and I don't hold back what I feel or my words or choice of words. So, I would come home and I would tell Arlene what had happened. Like somebody did this or somebody did that. It really angered me and pissed me off, and I wanted to strangle their neck. And she would, listen and then say, oh, well, I wasn't there. I can't really tell you, but listening to this, if you see the other person's perspective, maybe they were thinking this, and this. So it's kind of nice to know the other side and what that other person was going through. So it made me reflect on, okay, maybe I shouldn't have said this or said that. And now I felt bad, like a day later or two, my emotions would subside. And then Arlene would say, maybe you should call him back and say, you made a mistake, you were sorry or whatever, and I did. I mean, hey, look, and I'm a human being. I make mistakes, and we all say things that we all regret. And of course, I want you to know I still screw up, right? But it's nice to know that I was able to share those things with her so she can give me the highs and lows and give me always her perspective on everything. So it was great.
Okay, express your belief in them and their abilities in those moments when they don't believe in themselves. So this is like a great time to, be the cheerleader. I'm the one always saying, I mean, when, of course, when I'm speaking, everyone's nervous for me, but when he's speaking, I have 100% belief in him. So like he can take one little subject and, talk about it for an hour. So like I'm always like his biggest cheerleader. But you need to share that with them and let them know that you're here for them and you believe in them, because sometimes they don't believe in themselves. And it's nice. John's told me a few times, like, it's nice to just see you in the audience, or hear those words, like, that I believe in him. Allow them to practice explaining their business, products, or services to you. I mean, we did this early on, where he would do the presentation. Way back in the beginning, he would do the presentation, and we would go through PowerPoints together, or whatever he's training on, and I'm there to edit or critique, or do this, do that, leave this in, put this in, or whatever. But if you're practicing, you don't want to make a mistake in front of a client, or someone. So it's good to practice with who else would they practice in front of?
Yeah,
Right?
and and the thing is, like, when new products come out, I wanted to figure out, how do I sell this new product? And so I would come home, because Arlene was home with the kids, and I would say, oh, by the way, this new company just launched a new product and this could be great. I want to explain it to you. And as I'm explaining it to her, she didn't get it. So that was a good thing, because that means that I was doing a poor job presenting the benefits of the product. And if she didn't understand what I was explaining to her, then I felt like a lot of my clients would not also understand the product, right? So I would try to do a presentation for her, for Arlene to say, oh, I get it. Oh, well, that was a no-brainer. So I knew that my presentation was effective when she got it. And that means that my clients would have the same kind of objections or concerns about the particular product I was selling. So she was a great person to practice on. And she was there listening. And I told her, don't be nice about it. Don't try to be the sweet wife and say, oh, that was great, because that's not going to serve me if I go out and do a presentation. And because when I go see a client, they're not going to hold back. They're going to say, what? I don't get it. I don't understand what the hell you're talking about. They're not going to be as nice. So I told her to be very upfront and very raw with her delivery, and she did. And so that helped me enhance my presentations. Okay, just so you guys understand what we mean by this and being a supportive spouse. Next slide.
If needed, help them select and set up an office or workstation at home. I mean, especially now with COVID, everyone's probably working out of their homes, but um, I mean, you need to set up a little area, office space or workspace. Right now our whole living room is like the studio. We have, desks and tables and cameras and computers set up, and um,
So we basically, what she's saying is, we occupied her beautiful living room where she went and bought all this fancy furniture, custom done, custom rugs, custom paint, custom everything to her liking. And we had to take over her living room, because this is where we set up our shop. And we've got, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 9 screens and 2 cameras rolling right now. So with these big fancy lights and green screens behind me. So she's like, oh my God. And the best part about it is, I felt bad coming in, taking over her beautiful living room that she designed. And now we've turned it into a studio. Okay. But you know what? She was supportive about it. She's like, what else are we going to do? We have to do this, right? Because people need our guidance. People need our support. And she says, hey, we got to do what we got to do. So it was awesome.
but
So thank you for letting me take over your living room, Henny.
anytime. I'm loving it, because you don't have to drive anywhere now. And you're home for lunch, you're home for dinner.
And I finally get home cooking, you guys. Hey, by the way, you guys, since COVID-19, I've literally lost 20 pounds. Can you believe that? And
Not
that's
the
because I'm actually at home having healthier food rather than going out and eating fast food all the time with everyone. So yeah.
Help them schedule blocks of time to grow their business that are totally protected from interruptions. Um, Yeah, John has 3 mini days, and from, like, 6 to 12, 12 to 6, 6 to 12, midnight, and, he shares his calendar with everybody, so we know, when he's available, when he's not. We used to set aside 1 day of the week for date night, 1 day out of the week for family dinners and, family days, and now everything's just a little different since COVID happened, but schedule blocks of time so that they are in their little quiet area and you don't interrupt them during certain hours.
But just so you guys know, this is key. Time management is key to a successful marriage, family, business, everything. So, excuse me, as Arlene was talking about, you know, time management and having date night, I think it's so key because your spouse is waiting to spend time with you. Okay. So we knew that come Friday night at 6 o'clock p.m., we did not text people back. We did not check our emails. We kept our phone. I mean, because in case of an emergency and family and parents and kids and all that kind of stuff, babysitters. But we took the time to know that at 6 o'clock p.m., it was us. There was no one else that could be more important during that time. And it was just her and I. And we would go out, we'd see a Broadway show, we would go and have dinner somewhere, we'd do miniature golf, we'd go bowling together. We would just do a lot of fun things on the weekend. I mean, come Friday night. And we even got a book. It's called the Zagat, Zagat, the Zagat book. And it was a lot of fun because it's a book of all the restaurants in Los Angeles. So what we would do is we would, roll it like a book. You'd roll the book and we would just stick our finger in there, or we would just pick a page. We'd go page 17 and we go in there and close our eyes and we'd pick something and we'd go to that restaurant. Right. And we had no idea what it was. We didn't know it was going to be Chinese or Middle Eastern or, Mexican food, soul food. And we went to it. We didn't know if it was 1-star rating or 5-star rating. And so we would go to these crazy restaurants and we would literally sit there or I'll never forget, we went to this one restaurant and it was super, super fine dining where, they literally have 2 people, waiters working your table with white, gloves and all that. And they would come out with a massive platter for your food. Like you would order, a steak and the size, they roll it out on a cart and they would come out and put the big old plate in front of us with this big old silver dome. And I'm like ready to feast, thinking that there was going to be some like 20-pound steak on my platter, to find out it was like 2 ounces of Wagyu beef that cost me $400. I ate that Wagyu beef with 1 bite. And then they came and they said, "Would you like anything else, sir?" And I'm like, "No, man, I'm going to be stopping by at a In-N-Out burger, right, for $4.50 on the way back home with some animal fries," right? So the things that we did, it was like hilarious. Like it was so much fun to do these kind of crazy things. And so those are the memories, you guys, that you'll share, but you got to carve out time for date night. And as Arlene said, we had our family night. I didn't care where my kids were at, whether they were off to college or now. They had to be home for that one dinner with the family. And then, of course, we do a once-a-week dinner with the grandparents and all that kind of stuff. So we block those times out. And it's very important that you do all that. Okay, go ahead. Next slide. And you might need to go a little faster, honey, because we're got about 9 minutes left.
Help them get ready for business activities by offering to load the car, cook dinner, care for the children, or run an errand. I know, I mean, excuse me. Sometimes John's rushing to, get to an appointment or whatever. So if I know he has to put his computer bag in the car, or he needs to eat before he goes, I get that all ready for him. I know a lot of the roles are reversed sometimes because we have a lot of women leaders, and the men are at home cooking dinner and taking care of the kids. But that's what people do to support each other.
Yeah, and even in our house, when it comes to dinner, everybody, we didn't. Always didn't want to have the burden on Arlene to her to be the chef all the time and to be cooking, because that's certainly not easy either. When you've got to buy the food, prepare the food, which is the hardest part, right? And then cooking the food and then cleaning afterwards. So we actually made it into a whole family thing to, the people who cook, the kids would learn to cook, and we had the kids prepare food. And so they enjoy cooking and preparing. And then the people who cooked wouldn't have to clean. So it wasn't like it was like you just sat there and did nothing. So if you cooked, then you didn't have to clean. But if you have to, we would reverse and exchange and stuff like that. And everybody had their opportunity to cook during the week. So one day I would cook, she would cook, the kids would cook, and then we'd have, order in or order out, where we would all go out with a family and things like that. So it was always fun to see the variety of food that we can have. And we had a lot of fun with this. And that's one of the reasons why we love watching this food channel, because when you watch the food channel, you get so many cool ideas and things that you can do. So anyway, wanted to throw that at you.
Okay. Remember, it does not take any talent to extinguish the spark of someone else's dream. Naysayers, dream stealers, and doubting Thomases are a dime a dozen. However, it takes great skill to help someone to take the sparks of personal ambition, desire, courage, effort, and protect them until they become a roaring blaze of life-changing reality. Yes.
Well, that's pretty much what it says. I mean, it's so easy to be negative. It's so easy to be a pessimist. It's so easy, right, to steal somebody's dreams. But it's hard to be positive, right? It's hard to be optimistic. It's hard to be, someone who's going to be supportive. And so obviously it's a no-brainer here to extinguish the spark of someone's dream.
Has my spouse lost it? No, they have had a moment of entrepreneurial courage. This moment is significant.
All right, next slide.
It is a moment in time when they dare to dream. It's a moment when they believe in themselves. It's a moment when they decide to test their mettle. It's a moment when they take their shot at success. It's a moment when they are willing to risk failure while pursuing victory. It's a moment when they see opportunity and decide to seize it. Cut them some slack. Don't try to instantly understand your spouse's business. In the beginning, your spouse probably doesn't have the knowledge to explain to you the ins and outs of their new business. Cut them some slack in the meantime. Instead, try to understand why this undertaking is so important to your spouse. Our ability to understand their hope, excitement, and motivation will be far more profound than understanding their business model and compensation plan. The beauty of being a business owner is that you're the boss, which means you get to make your own hours. Let this incredible freedom work for you and not against you. Is it worth all the work? Yes. Because of this business, we've been able to do charity work. Because of our business, this is our car collection. These are the places we've been because of our business. Venice, Rome. We've been there multiple times. Athens, Greece. We've been there multiple times with and without the kids. Santorini, Mykonos, London. And these, where else can you go? And the company pays for everything, and you travel first class. Edinburgh, Paris, Barcelona, Vienna. I mean, this is a palace, and Brussels, Munich. You get to travel with all your friends. Tahiti, Sydney, Australia, Fiji, Korea, all of the Hawaiian Islands, multiple. I mean, we've been going there since Matthew was, our firstborn was, 1. Alaska. And if you've never been to Alaska, you should, it's breathtaking. You should go there. Vancouver, Banff, Grand Canyon, Zion National Park, Puerto Vallarta, Grand Cayman Islands, New York, Orlando, Toronto. Oh, because of our business, we were knighted. Can you imagine? I've never in a million years thought I would be a lady and John would be a knight. Before he proposed, I would always tell him he was my knight in shining armor. Now it actually came true.
I just need a white horse now, right?
Yeah. And because of our business, we have a beautiful and happy family. Thank you.
All right. Well, there you go. So listen, folks, I think also when you're building this business, it's so important for you to get your kids involved as well, because I feel that our kids, I hate to talk about our kids in a way where, like, I don't want to say like my kids are, better, but I think that there are certain things about the business that has helped my kids in a lot of ways, because number one, I can say right now without doubt that all 4 of my kids have a very entrepreneurial spirit because they saw their parents with that. Our children understand money today. We sit down and we don't want to just get our kids to become spoiled where they just get all this money. We just give them money. We want to make sure that our kids are understanding the value of money. So they have to do chores, right? They got to go out there. They got to do their own laundry. They got to clean the room. They got to take out the trash, right? And so as the kids were growing up, we did exercises in our house where we told each of the kids that, hey, if you clean your room, you get X dollar amount. You take out the trash, you do your laundry, you fold your laundry. If you do all this kind of stuff, you get money for it, for doing the work. And then at the end of the week, and Sunday, by the way, was our family base shop meeting or our family team meeting. Just like I would have a team meeting in my office or my company or my business, like I'm sure many of you guys, if you have a job, wherever you are, you're having some sort of a meeting inside your office. Well, why can't you have a meeting inside your own house? Make sure that your whole family's on the same page. And so my kids have had a meeting with me and their mother every single week for as long as I can remember. And we have discussions about everything. There's life lessons, okay, about respect, life lessons about kindness, right? Life lessons about giving, life lessons about love, life lessons about peace. There's all this stuff. And then, of course, we talk about money. And then on Sunday, I would do some, what's the word I'm looking for? I would do, recognition, right? So we would see which kid did the most amount of chores, and then each chore had a value, and whoever made the most during the week, I would give them an additional bonus of $25 or $50. So my youngest one, Jenna, learned very quickly that if I start to do more than the others, then I can get this bonus check from mom and dad and have more money. So what she would do is go around to all the other siblings and say, hey, do you want me to take your trash out of your bathroom? Right. And so she would get credit for that. And then of course, at the end of the week, right, she did more. And so she got more. Okay. And that's how it works. The more you do, the more you get. And so we started to develop that culture inside our house. And so my kids understood the value of money. You know, they can't just walk up to me and say, hey, Dad, can I get $100 because I'm going to go hang out with my friends. We're going to go to a club or a movie, and we're just going to go to a nice restaurant and blow $100. For some people, they don't understand the value of $100 until they try to go and make that $100, right? So understand it's important that you raise your children that way. That's just my opinion, okay? I mean, you can raise your kids however way you want, but I feel that that's how it's worked for us, and we're just sharing with you what has worked for us to get our family raising 4 kids and our business to the level that it's at. And so, again, Arlene isn't like always speaking publicly. And so I appreciate her jumping on here today. I thought she did a fabulous job. So Arlene, good job. Would you be back next week again to do So thanks for sharing all that. I know that she's been working on her PowerPoint all week to make sure she gave you guys some great content. So for those of you that are joining us here today, listen, tomorrow, I am going to do an orientation to help you get your business rocking and moving very quickly. Hey, look, Arlene, look at all the people putting their hands up for you. I don't know if you can see it or not on your end, or it's only on my screen, but they are. Yeah. Do you see that, Arlene? Do you see that? See, they loved your presentation, honey, so you should do this more often. They want to hear from Lady Arlene. All right. Also, don't forget, November 13th, we're doing a showing of the movie Think and Grow Rich. Get your families together. And then on this day, November 14th, Shantastic Saturday, is me talking to you directly. Hey, next Tuesday, you guys, you can't miss this, all right? Grammy Award winner Jamie Jones, okay, will be joining us talking about his secrets and what he's done with his life to be where he's at. Don't miss this. If you are a big fan of 80s music, you may have heard of his group, which is called All for One, and they've got a lot of wonderful hit music. So Jamie's going to join us next week on Tuesday. Look forward to seeing you that. And also on Thursday, November 12th. Now, this is coming up November 12th. I had a bunch of people this whole week. Even a guy named Dewan Cofield actually called me yesterday and was like, hey, what should I build in my emergency survival kit? And those of you guys that don't know me, I have been preparing. Look, I'm not a doomsday prepper. I'm not like thinking the worst, but I always want to be prepared and make sure that I have. It's crazy that you would have the money to buy some things and you didn't have it, and then you wish you would have had it if something were to go wrong. So I'm doing this thing this coming Thursday, November 12th, not this Thursday, it's next Thursday, right? On emergency survival kits and what you should have inside your home and inside your cars and inside your offices. So this, I think, will be a great thing for you guys to listen to, and I hope that you get some value out of that and be prepared. God forbid if anything were to happen. Now, if you think that nothing's going to happen, you don't believe in this, then don't tune in. But hey, what if something did happen? I mean, look at what happened when the Hurricane Katrina happened in the Gulf states. Look at what happened in the Northridge earthquakes. Look what happened during Jersey, right? And all the big devastation up in Jersey. So again, I just want to make sure that you're prepared for that. And if any of this stuff interested you today, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Get with the person who invited you here today to listen to this. And if no one invited you because you heard through, let's say, Facebook or Instagram or one of our social media ads, again, you want to learn how money works or whatever it is, please feel free to reach out to me. This is my cell phone down there in the middle, right next to my name. You'll see my cell phone. Call me. Let's strategize. Okay, my email is there. There's tons of stuff now on YouTube. There's stuff on my Instagram, and I hope that you guys. There is a lot going on around the world today, and you're wondering like, where are we headed? But I want you to know, no matter what happens, I want you to remain positive and optimistic, because things will always work out. I promise you, things will always work out. All right. God bless every single one of you guys tonight. You guys are awesome. We love you. We're thinking about you. We're praying about you every day. Take care. We'll see you guys all tomorrow. Good night, everyone.